Hello to my dear children of MA previous year, and this is my last recording for the essay of Friendship by Francis Bacon. And this is almost the last paragraph of the essay, where he also concludes by giving us the last fruit of friendship. And he says that after these two noble fruits of friendship, peace in affections and support of judgment. So he has obviously talked of two fruits of friendship in his complete essay. The first one relating to matters of heart and emotions. He has given us a lot of examples, and then of course he has said how friends help us in understanding of things, in solving of problems, in a person's personal life as well as professional life and his business. He says, followeth the last fruit, which is like the pomegranate. So now he's talking of the third fruit of friendship. This is the last fruit, and he says it is like the pomegranate, and he uses the example of this fruit which has a number of kernels. So if you cut a pomegranate, it has small sweet kernels, and he says a true friend is like that, because he just does not have one role in our life. He has a number of roles to play. So he says, aid and bearing a part in all actions and occasions. So what he wants to say here, that a true friend So, because a true friend has a number of roles, he's like the pomegranate. And he says here, the best way to represent to life the manifold use of friendship is to cast and see how many things there are which a man cannot do himself. So he says, if you really want to understand, if you really want to test in which spheres of life a friend has a role to play, because he says it has manifold. I had used the word multiple, and he uses the word manifold. He says, just think about things that a man cannot do himself. So if you just start thinking about things that we cannot do alone, we need a friend, it will appear that it was a sparing speech of the ancients to say that a friend is another himself. So whatever you have to do in life, a friend comes in handy, a friend comes in useful. And he uses this adage. Adage means a saying which our ancient people have been using, our elders have been using. And the elders say that a friend is another himself. What our ancients say? Ancients say that a friend is our copy or a duplicate. He is like having a good friend is like having one more of your copy, because anything that you can do, a friend can do for you as well. He will do it for you with the same heart as you do something for yourself. For that, a friend is far more than himself. And Bacon adds to this that I don't think that friend is equal. A friend is far more than himself. So if you do something for yourself, a friend can do that better. And then he says, men have their time and die many times in desire of some things which they principally take to heart, the bestow. So and here he's using some examples, but let me explain this line first. He says, men have their time. We have a fixed span of life. Everybody has a fixed span of life. What does that mean? That we live life for a fixed period of time and then we have to die. And sometimes there are desires. Everybody has desires, and he uses some examples like the bestowing of a child, the finishing of a work. Bestowing of a child means doing something for your child and finishing some important work and things like that. So there are hundreds and hundreds of desires that a person has. Some he is able to fulfill in his life, and others he does not fulfill because his time of life is over and he dies. If a man have a true friend, he may rest almost secure that the care of those things will continue after him. So he says, if you have a true friend, the word true is very important over here, that sometimes if there are things which you have left unfinished in your lifetime, you can rest assured that your friend will do those things for you. He will finish your unfinished business. If you were thinking that you need to do something for your child and unfortunately you are not able to do that, your friend will do it. If there is a job which you wanted to finish off but you couldn't, your friend will do it for you. So he says, rest assured that your friend will finish off your unfinished business, so that a man hath, as it were, two lives in his desires. Two lives, such a beautiful thing to say, that one is your own life to fulfill your desires, and if you are unable to do that, if some of your desires remain unfinished, then don't worry, there are two lives. One is himself and the other is his friend. So his friend would be doing that work for him, will fulfilling that desire for him. And then he says, a man hath a body, and that body is confined to a place, but where friendship is, all offices of life are as if were granted to him and his deputy. He's using the word deputy over here, and the literal meaning of this word would be an assistant. You cannot say that Bacon is calling a friend an assistant. It is just saying that with the help of a true friend, even the barriers of place don't matter, because we can be at one place at one time, but if you have a true friend, it is like having another self who can be in your place somewhere else also. So if you are bound up, you cannot do something somewhere else, you can send your friend to do it. So it is like being in two places at one time. One is yourself and the other is your friend. For he may exercise them by a friend. So you can do some things which you cannot do yourself, you can do it with the help of a friend. How many things are there which a man cannot with any face or comeliness say or do himself? Now this is very practical. You can say that sometimes there are things which we cannot, we don't dare to do ourselves. There are things which we feel very shy. Here comeliness means you feel shy to do it yourself. Then how do you do it? What kinds of things are these? First of all, things which we don't have the heart to do it, or things which maybe we are too shy to do it. So the first thing is to praise yourself, allege his own merits. What is the meaning of this term? To allege his own merits is to praise oneself. So if you praise yourself, yourself, it doesn't look very modest, it doesn't look very humble. Even if you deserve the praise, it does not really look good that you start praising yourself, you start praising your own merits. He says, a man scarce allege his own merits with modesty, much less extol them. Extol them means describe them. So you cannot talk in detail about your own merits. A man cannot supplicate, sometimes brook to supplicate or beg. This is first thing, you cannot praise yourself. The second thing is sometimes you need to beg or borrow. Here supplicate means request. Okay, so there are some things, sometimes you really have to go and beg somebody, you really go and plead with somebody, that really does not suit you. You feel you don't have the daring to do it, you feel very shy to do it. So this is number 2. And then he says a number of the like, and there are so many, examples, there are so many situations in life like these, where a man really cannot do things himself, but all these things are graceful in a friend's mouth. So you just send your good friend to do it. If your friend praises you, then it is not, it really suits, if your friend praises you with his full heart. If your friend goes and pleads for you, requests for you, begs for you, even that suits you. So he says, these things look graceful in a friend's mouth. So again, a man's person hath many proper relations which he cannot put off. A man cannot speak to his son but as a father. Now this is also again very practical. In life, he says, sometimes there are situations where you cannot handle matters very well, okay, just because of your position. So if you are a father, you cannot talk to your son except like a father, because you are the father, okay, to a wife but as a husband, to his enemy but upon those terms. So he says, for example, you have a problem somewhere in the family and you cannot solve it. Who is a better person to do it? Who is the better person to help you in these difficult situations? Definitely it is the friend, it is the true faithful friend. And then again with the enemy also, if you go and confront your enemy yourself, things could turn ugly, but a friend could be a better mediator. So here, in these lines, he's talking of the role of the friend as a mediator. So what would the friend do? He would be like a go-between. So a mediator can also be a go-between. Just like in games, you have the umpires, you have the referees, they settle situations, they settle difficult situations for you. So maybe you can also write this down over here, that have you got this? Okay. And then he says, but to enumerate these things were endless. So he says, if I start enumerating, if I start listing the things that a friend can do for you, it is endless, because he has said this before also. Just imagine what you cannot do alone. You need a friend to do it. It is like your whole life is dependent on a true friend. I have given the rule where a man cannot fitly play his own part. If he have not a friend, he may quit the stage. And comparing life to a stage, everybody has a role to play. Here the word part means role, and here stage is metaphor for life. So he says, if in the in this life, on the stage of life, you cannot find a true friend, then it is better not to live at all. quit the stage. So he can actually, you can, in easy words you can say, this is almost where he had actually begun his essay, where he was discussing how a man who does not have a friend, either he's a beast or he's a god, because a human being is a social animal. He needs friends, he needs people in society whom he can call his friend. So here I finish off my essay of Friendship by Francis Bacon, and in my next video I would be beginning with my next essay. Thank you.